Welcome back, traders and investors. We have Jason Sen on the line. He's a technical analyst and director of TradeIdeas.com. So, Jason, I saw you began your career in the options pit of the trading floor of the LIFFE in 1987. How did you get your start on the floor?
It was just a case of sending out my CV to a bunch of banks, really. It was a little bit easier in those days than it is now, I think. I didn't have a degree, but I managed to get a job as what they called a yellow jacket trainee, and the market was just exploding, so I managed to move up quite quickly. They were desperate for staff.
And so what kind of trader were you on the floor?
Well, I was an options trader. I was a market maker. I was financed by a private company and sent into the pit. And, it was a case of sink or swim in those days. You weren't really given a lot of training. You were pretty much thrown in the deep end to see if you could figure it out and make some money. Unfortunately, eventually I managed to do that.
Okay, so you basically were just a market maker. They come into the pit, hey, give me a market in, euro puts or something like that. You would look at your theoreticals and give them a market, then take the other side of it, and then lay off a hedge in the corresponding futures. Or how did you do it? Or were you like initiating trades on your own and finding stuff that you wanted to take a position in?
No, pretty much the first one. I would stand in the middle of the pit. I was trading short sterling, the STIR contract, the short-term interest rate contract. So trading a lot of gamma, and I'd stand in the pit, wait for the brokers to come in, look for a price, and of course, you had to try and be the quickest guy, the tightest price, the biggest size, that kind of thing. It was very exciting in those days. I mean, we're talking a long time ago now. Obviously, it started in '87, so. Really got going in the 90s, and it was tremendous fun. I was lucky to be in my early 20s and have an opportunity like that to work in such a exciting environment.
Do you miss the pits, or do you have a good trading floor story you want to share with us?
Not sure if I could share them with the public. It was very exciting. I do miss the pits. I mean, I'm 46 now. I'm way too old to go and stand in the pit. I'd be way too slow, and you had to be young and aggressive and very sharp. And I don't think I've got it these days. I don't think I could. I mean, you had to stand up all day. It was tiring. It was a very physical job, but it was great fun. The guys down there were very, very sharp. The sense of humor was amazing. When in the quiet times, it would really be hilarious. But when the business came, it got very serious. And you might have some good friends in the pit, but it didn't mean that you wouldn't try and take money out of them. It was an understanding that if you made a wrong price or if you did something wrong, your friends would take money out of you.
No, that's the way it is down there. All right, so you made the transition to screen-based trading, and you said that was 2001 that the LIFFE went out and you made the transition upstairs?
Yeah, that's right. I moved over to Gibraltar with the same trading company, American trading company, and they put me on a screen to trade the MIB options, the Italian MIB 30 index options. So it was a big transition, not only because it was screen trading, which was completely new to me, of course, but also the product was completely different. I'd gone from trading big gamma positions in the short sterling option pit to trading Vega and Theta on these big index. And this big index, which I think was trading around 30,000 at the time. So yeah, it was a different game completely for me, but I managed to make the transition and I enjoyed it.
Was it easier or harder than you thought it would be?
Actually, I didn't really have a problem switching to option trading on the screen because you had your model. Before, you had rolls and rolls of paper in the pit, and you had to, when something changed, when the skew changed or when volatility changed, you had to shout to your clerk who'd run to the booth and print off a load of sheets and bring them back. Do you know what? Funnily enough, I still have dreams about that, even to this day, about me screaming for sheets and what's my position. Whereas, yeah, I still do. It's crazy. Whereas when you were trading on screens, of course, it was all updated instantly right in front of your face. You could move your skew, you could move your vols, you could fine-tune everything constantly. So in some ways, it was a little bit easier. Obviously, in some ways, it was a lot harder. The prices got tighter. There was less margin, which is always the case when markets progress and become more developed.
Did you have to change your time horizon from when you made the move upstairs?
Not for that, but I eventually stopped trading options, it just became quite intense. And as I got older, I didn't want to have that sort of position where you're just married to it all day, every day, week after week. Even when you take a holiday, you can never exit your position in total. So I decided to move over to futures. That was very tricky indeed. I thought having traded options for so long, it wouldn't be a difficult transition, but it's a completely different skill set, and I found it very tricky indeed, which is what led me to concentrate so hard on technical analysis, because I just realized I had no edge at all. I really didn't know what I was doing. And so, yeah, in search of an edge, I studied technical analysis.
So what futures are you trading right now?
Well, for my clients, who are mostly bank clients, I focus on 25 different markets. So I cover stock indexes, fixed income, forex, and commodities. So when I trade, which isn't every day necessarily, it's only when I see a decent opportunity, because trying to run a business and trade at the same time, you can't be a full-time trader and run a business, as I've discovered. So when I trade, I could trade any one of those 25 markets just when I spot an opportunity I think that's worth executing.
And is it something that you do on a longer term, or do you have shorter term setups that you follow?
I probably won't stay in a trade for more than about 48 hours. I mean, ideally, if I wasn't running the business that I am, I would just trade probably S&P, maybe the euro, maybe gold, just two or three products,
Mm-hmm.
scalp in and out, probably do two or three trades in each product each day. That would be perfect. And I know I could make money doing that because the levels work very, very nicely. But you get distracted. It's a choice. Do I run a business, or do I trade full time and scrap the business? And I'm lucky to say that the business is successful, so it's not something I could just forget and
Move on,
focus on
right?
trading
For
10
the
hours a day. Yeah.
yeah, for the up and down of trading. So you're talking about
Mm.
technical analysis. So what's your go-to technical analysis technique? What type of charts do you use? Time frames? What do you like in the world of technical analysis?
Okay, well, I keep it very, very simple. I've been doing this for many, many years, so I figured out what doesn't work, and most of it, doesn't work consistently. So I need to be consistent. So I use simple stuff, trend lines. I use moving averages, just 100 period and 200 period moving averages. I use Fibonacci a lot, and I go over 5 or 6 different time frames. I'll look as far out as yearly, monthly, weekly, daily, 4 hour, 1 hour, and maybe sometimes even shorter term than 1 hour charts. So I scan all these different charts, because you have to be aware of the big levels, which of course the funds and the banks are keeping an eye on, and they're the guys that can move the market. But you also have to be aware of the shorter term levels for my clients, who might be scalping in and out and just looking for 20, 25 pips.
Okay, could you just like run through your short term and your long term analysis of the S&P 500 futures? Just trading smartly above 2,000 here. Could you just give us if you can find some good resistance levels? The only one I can really give traders is that the all time high that we made in the pre market trading 2011. Could you give us some long term and short term levels for the S&Ps?
Off the top of my head, I haven't got my charts in front of me at
Okay.
the moment.
Okay.
Some long-term trading levels are really tricky. We are running out of trend lines now to hit.
Okay.
And yeah, I agree, it's tricky. Obviously, we've got. I think we've made a new all-time high today. I haven't even looked recently, but I think we got up to 2010, or maybe even
2011.
above there.
2011.
2011. Okay, there you
Yep.
go. I had 2014 as my next target for the day. I'll be honest with you, I couldn't project going forward. I'd have to be looking at more fib extensions
Okay.
and try and find some trend line resistance. It's a real tricky one, because, of course, that market just keeps hitting new all-time highs. I'm pleased to say I did predict that summer correction, and we pretty much hit my target on the downside and then bounced. So that was my one big call for the last couple of months. But now it just looks like it's going higher, and there's just no point in getting in the way of it.
Yeah, no, that it's something. It's tough here. So just your outlook on the market, just remaining extremely bullish. Is there anything on the downside as far as any key technical levels? For me, the double bottom. I know it's way it's 15 points away from here now, but Friday and Tuesday's low at 1992.50 and 92.75. think that's going to be major support. Now, I didn't think we'd be 15 points above it here in today's trading, but that's where the market stands.
I totally agree with you. I actually thought that is definitely a big level. In fact, that was my key level for today. And of course, we've just burst higher again. I actually thought we would hover. There was a little short-term channel just going over the last 2 or 3 weeks, somewhere between 1993 and 2005, 2006. And I just thought we'd hover within that channel, actually, because things are just so overbought. I thought the market could just take a breath. I didn't see it heading lower, but even today, it's just burst higher again. So really, it just shows you cannot get in the way of this market.
Okay, and just to close things out, why don't you tell us about your site, daytradeideas.com, and the services you offer?
Okay, thanks. Yeah, well, as I say, I cover about 25 markets. 10 of the markets tend to appeal to retail traders, the usual euro, US dollar, pound versus the dollar, gold, oil, and then S&P, DAX, that kind of thing. So I provide a daily analysis every morning. It's usually ready by about 3 a.m. GMT. I get it ready very early. Some people like to trade through the night. So that's updated every 24 hours, and I also provide video analysis. It's very much short-term trading plan. I originally started this for banks such as Deutsche Bank, Morgan Stanley, Merrill Lynch, but the retail trader seems to like it too. So it seems to work.
Okay, we've had Jason Sen. He is technical analyst and director of TradeIdeas.com. Does his homework in the markets and comes up with levels for short-term traders, intermediate-term traders, and longer-term traders. So take a look at Jason's site. Thanks a lot for coming on Benzinga's Pre-Market Prep, brought to you by Options House, and we certainly like to have you on again.
Appreciate it. It's been great fun. Thanks very much for your time.